Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Zoom event with Mobius Science Center. This event is geared for the K through 5th grade age range, but it is suitable and easily followable by younger kids too. So we hope you bring in your younger siblings. You can pick up the activity kit that goes with this event at our branches. Take a look at the chat notes to get some more information if you weren't aware of that option. And now we're going to give the command over to Jake and hear what he's got for us. This should be really fun, guys. So here we go.
All right, thanks. My name is Jake, and I'm here at the Mobius Science Center. And if you didn't get one already, there are kits available at the Spokane Public Library branches for pickup. And there's a little activity guide about the different ways that we're going to talk about colors today, colorful chemistry. So the first thing we're going to do is a science demonstration, and then I'm going to read a book, and then we'll work through a couple of the other activities on your activity guide. So I'm going to switch cameras over to the demo here, and we will get started. So the first thing we have, you may be familiar with this, is the elephant's toothpaste activity demonstration. And if you've never done it before at Mobius, we've included in the activity guide our recipe there. And you can find all these materials at probably at home, but easily accessible at the store. And the first thing we've got is some colored hydrogen peroxide with some dish soap in it. And if you've seen this before, you know that we're probably going to make a little bit of a mess. What happens is we're going to have a chemical reaction that's going to release some gas. And inside of that gas is going to be oxygen bubbles. So we're going to we colored it so that we can see it a little bit better. Hopefully you can pick this up on our little camera here. But to make this chemical reaction, we need a catalyst. All right, so I've mixed a little bit of yeast in some warm water here. And this yeast is going to activate the hydrogen peroxide. And if you've used hydrogen peroxide before, it's not great when it touches your skin. But what its chemical formula is, the chemical formula of hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. And H2O2 sounds like water, but there's an extra oxygen molecule inside of hydrogen peroxide. So when we cause this chemical reaction, we're going to remove some oxygen, and we're going to be left with just H2O. So H2O, of course, is safe water. Oxygen, of course, we breathe it every day. And these are all safe so that when this chemical reaction is done, you can touch it. It's just yeast and soap mixed in with a little color. So to get this chemical reaction going, we are going to add yeast to each of these containers. I'll just split this into a couple of cups here. You should be able to see on camera that one of these is blue and one of these is yellow. So we're going to have two different color reactions. And since you're playing along at home, go ahead and count down with me. 3, 2, 1. There we go. A nice big mess. It's been a while since we've all made messes, right? Or do you still make messes at home? Yeah. So we have a bright yellow over here. We have blue. It kind of looks purplish on the screen there. But if we've got it, we've got these two colors next to each other. We have yellow and blue. What do you think we're going to see when these two colors start to mix together? You can type it into the chat. We've got yellow and blue. What colors do you think we're going to see if we mixed these two together? Any guesses? I'll start mixing. I'm going to use a spoon because that way I can still mess with the technology while we're working here. Anybody see? Hey, we got one. Green. We're making green. Great. So we've got yellow and blue make green. Yellow and blue are two of the primary colors, And when we mix primary colors together, we get new colors. Now this is, again, as I said, safe to touch. I'm just not gonna get super messy, but it's totally up to you. With an adult's help and using that hydrogen peroxide, you should be safe to dip your hands in it. There is a little bit more that hasn't reacted at the bottom of this container. If you used another container and you had a little bit left over, that's mostly hydrogen peroxide still, so just dump that out. But anything that spills out into your tray or on whatever surface you've got, you should be able to touch, no problem. It might even feel a little bit warm because this chemical reaction was exothermic and it gets a little bit warm. Pretty cool. All right, so there's experiment number 1. The recipe is in your guide. And now we're gonna read a little story as soon as I find a place for my mess. All right. So we're going to read a story today called Rainbow Fish. Okay? Let's see if I can do this without losing the camera here. So this book is called Rainbow Fish by Marcus Pfister. And if I get the angle right, you can see his nice shiny scales. Bonus points if you know what the original title of this book is. It was written in German, or in Switzerland, so it's written in German. If you know what the name of Rainbow Fish in German is, bonus points if you type it into the chat. A long way out in the deep blue sea, there lived a fish, not just an ordinary fish, but the most beautiful fish in the entire ocean. His scales were every shade of blue and green and purple, with sparkling silver scales among them. The other fish were amazed at his beauty. They called him Rainbow Fish. "Come on, Rainbow Fish," they would call. "Come and play with us." But the Rainbow Fish would just glide past, proud and silent, letting his scales shimmer. One day, a little blue fish followed after him. "Rainbow Fish," he called, "wait for me. Please give me one of your shiny scales. They are so wonderful, and you have so many." "You want me to give you one of my special scales? Who do you think you are?" cried the Rainbow Fish. "Get away from me." Shocked, the little blue fish swam away. He was so upset. He told all of his friends what had happened. From then on, no one would have anything to do with the Rainbow Fish. They turned away when he swam by. What good were the dazzling, shimmering scales with no one to admire them? Now he was the loneliest fish in the entire ocean. One day, he poured out his troubles to the starfish. "I really am beautiful. Why doesn't anybody like me?" "I can't answer that for you," said the starfish, "but if you go beyond the coral reef to a deep cave, you will find the wise octopus. Maybe she can help you." The Rainbow Fish found the cave. It was very dark inside, and he couldn't see anything. Then suddenly 2 eyes caught him in their glare, and the octopus emerged from the darkness. "I have been waiting for you," said the octopus with a deep voice. "The waves have told me your story. This is my advice. Give a glittering scale to each of the other fish, and you will no longer be the most beautiful fish in the sea, but you will discover how to be happy." "I can't," the Rainbow Fish started to say, but the octopus had already disappeared into the dark cloud of ink. "Give away my scales, my beautiful shining scales? Never. How could I ever be happy without them? Suddenly he felt the light touch of a fin. The little blue fish was back. Rainbow fish, please don't be angry. I just want one little scale. The rainbow fish wavered. Only one very small, shimmery scale, he thought. Well, maybe I wouldn't miss just one. Carefully, the rainbow fish pulled out the smallest scale and gave it to the little fish. Thank you very much, the little blue fish bubbled playfully as he tucked the shiny scale among his blue ones. A rather peculiar feeling came over Rainbow Fish. For a long time, he watched the little blue fish swim back and forth with his new scale glittering in the water. The little blue fish whizzed through the ocean with his scale flashing. So it didn't take long before the rainbow fish was surrounded by other fish. Everyone wanted a glittering scale. The rainbow fish shared his scales left and right, and the more he gave away, the more delighted he became. When the water around him filled with glimmering scales, he at last felt at home among the other fish. Finally, the rainbow fish had only one shining scale left. His most prized possession had been given away. Yet he was very happy. Come on, rainbow fish, they called. Come and play with us. Here I come, said the rainbow fish, and happy as a splash, he swam off to join his friends. Pretty good story. And lots of bright, shiny colors. So what we're going to do now is switch back over and we're going to talk about a couple of activities that you can do right from home. And this one, if you're playing along with us, you can use some markers and the filter paper that's included in your kit. If you've got your own activity, own materials, you might find a coffee filter and a couple of markers. And it's best to use different brands of markers. If you've got some old ones and some brand new ones, you might even try both of those to see the difference. So we've got a little water dropper. You can use a water bottle even. You know what, even one that'll give you a couple of drips. And a little cup so that you can place this over it so it can drain. So a little tiny cup will help you out here. So I'm going to choose, we talked about primary colors and secondary colors a little bit. So I'm going to choose one primary color, red, and then a couple of secondary colors so that we can see what colors dye is inside of these markers. So we're going to learn about what these markers are made up of by adding water, and the dye is going to spread out and we're going to be able to see more of the color that's made up inside of this marker. So take your markers and make a little design. I'm just going to make a couple of big dots on my paper. Big red dot, a big green dot, and a big purple dot. And what you're going to find is that when these colors get wet, the filter paper is going to draw the ink across the paper. Just a couple of drops. You see it starting to spread out maybe on camera there. Just a couple of drops will start to move the ink across the paper. And some of the ink will spread quickly and other parts of the ink will move more slowly. And so you might see different colors hidden in especially in the green ink. Green is a good one. And purple might show you two different colors of ink combined together. And so what we've got here is this green marker has little hints of blue around the edge, and you can even see a little bit of yellow ink moving around in there. And the longer you let this go, let it sit here and diffuse for a little bit, let it sit here and bleed on the filter paper. And once it's dry, you're going to be able to see pretty up close some different colors hidden in your ink. So I've got a couple examples here. I cut up a little coffee filter here. You might be able to see hints of purple or blue or yellow in there. Of course, this is why you're doing the activity on your own, so that you can see it up close. A nice big rainbow wheel. You can see which colors are primary and secondary. Some of the primary colors might even have hints of other colors in them. I wonder why that is. Maybe we'll talk about that as well. And one fun thing you can do is, once you've got your filter paper done, you can poke a hole in it and a string, because this works really well when you hold it up to the light. And so if you hang it in your window and the light comes through, you'll see those colors, a lot of the interesting colors popping out. Okay, so there's a fun one. There's an additional activity in your activity guide with that other piece of filter paper. You can find some different black markers, and even making a black marker, you can find other colors hidden in your black marker. So black ink isn't just a natural dye that's found existing in the world. They have to make it extra black. You might see hints of purple and red and blue even. And some of these just have the whole rainbow of colors in them. So it's an interesting to think about the chemistry of how to make your markers, how your markers get made. Pretty cool. So these are all, you can make a whole set of colorful pieces of filter paper, and make sure to ask your parents' permission before you raid their valuable coffee filters in the cupboards. All right. So there's that one. There's also an extension activity about how you can find natural colors that are hidden in leaves on the trees. So you can bring fall into your house before the fall leaves change color. So you'll need a little bit of rubbing alcohol. If you've got that, get a parent's help, and you can mash up a leaf, and you can draw out all the colors that are hidden in a leaf that show that rainbow of fall colors. All right. So there's one. And the next one, you're going to find those colored tablets that are included in your kit, or you can find in the cabinet, you can find your food coloring again. And this time, let's see, we mixed yellow and blue make green last time. So this time we're going to do red and yellow. And these little tablets look like purple and kind of orange, but when you put them in water, you'll see them change. They fizz a little bit, which is fun. These are actually bathtub tablets to put in your bathtub. So they're made for this experiment. So you only have 3 included, red, yellow, and blue. But the mix pack says that it's non-staining. So that's good for the purposes of this activity. Then when you get to mixing them, you can take your red and your yellow and your blue and make all the colors of the rainbow. All right. Now, if we're looking, oh, and now I see in the chat, I see somebody answered the bonus question. All right, we'll get back to that. So I see the red and the yellow here. Who's got a prediction? What will happen when we mix red and yellow together? What will happen when we mix red and yellow? You'll notice that this, oh, we got orange, great. Thank you, Sophia. You'll notice that this red is maybe pinkish on your screen. And when you put the blue in there, you'll see that the blue comes out very, very bright, almost sky blue. And for the adults that are watching along, you might have changed the ink cartridges on your printer at home, and you'll notice that it says cyan, magenta, and yellow. And those are the brighter versions of these colors that we're seeing here. And that's how they make ink. So cyan and yellow, we think, makes orange. So we're gonna mix those together. I'll put a little bit in here, red, and I'll leave that red next to it for contrast. And as we add yellow, we mix those together and you should be able to see red, a bright orange. Maybe if I add a little more yellow, it'll pop on camera. Oh, then there's no yellow for contrast. So you've got orange here in the middle, red, and the fun part of this activity is that you can make the perfect shade of your favorite color. And it's fun to take out some measuring spoons or measuring cups and use those proportions so that you can take 1 scoop of this and 1 scoop of that, maybe just a spoonful of each, and mix it into another cup. And then you can rinse it or make a yellow cup and a purple cup and a green cup. How would you make the perfect color of purple? How would you make the perfect color of purple? So we mixed red and yellow, that makes orange. We mixed blue and yellow, that makes green. And the last one would be red. Last combination would be red and blue, and that will make purple. So how can you make the perfect shade of purple out of what you've got there? Okay. So this one's fun for you to try at home. If you run out of color from these tablets, again, you can use food coloring. Typically, this is a little bit more staining, but also very fun. The last thing, and when you, if you have food coloring at home, one fun thing to try is put a flower in there, or maybe a piece of celery or a piece of cabbage, and those plants, when freshly cut and placed in some food coloring water, it works best with food coloring. When you place them in there, you can actually see the plant change color, which is a pretty fun science experiment to try at home. So leave that, and you can watch as the capillary action, as the plant draws up water into itself to stay hydrated, and make your perfect rainbow of cups. You might want more than 3 cups, but I didn't want to crowd the screen here for you. All right. So we have Elephant's toothpaste recipe that you can make at home. We have that marker activity with the filter paper. And if you have more filter paper, you can repeat that activity a number of times. A couple of activities that you can try on your own with some additional materials, and then mixing colors, turning primary colors into secondary colors. Pretty fun. So we hope that you've got enough materials to get yourself started and do some experiments at home. And if you need any more materials, the material list is right here. What's included and what's needed can be combined if you aren't able to pick up this kit from your library. But there's more kits available if you haven't got one yet. Check in with your local Spokane branch library, and you can get them at curbside pickup. All right. So let's see about those. If you have any questions about these activities, we'll take a few of those questions. And if you have been trying it along at home, maybe we can show off some of what you're working on already. I see somebody answered my wonderful question. Thank you for playing along at home. And what we have here in the only reason I know this is because in the credits on the inside page, the best part of this is that I'm going to butcher the name of this. Copyright 1992, Der Regenbogenfisch. Spelling is pretty close, Sophia. I'm going to give it to you. Regenbogen, more E's, no U's, but pretty close. All right, anybody have any questions about their activity? We've made green, we've made orange. Has anybody been trying this along at home, making as we go? All right. All right, well, thanks, folks. thanks for joining us at the Science Center. We're sad that we can't be with you, but we're glad that we can bring some science into your house. And there will be another one of these on August 4th with Mobius, doing some more science and engineering activities for pre-K and elementary age students. And we'll do another book and try out some more fun design activities. All right, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. This is Kathy again. Just a reminder that this event was recorded and we'll have it up on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't had a chance to get your kit, you could always re-watch the video after we get it loaded and work through the activities with Jake there, or do whatever you like. His instructions are very clear. So everybody have a great day. Thanks for coming and keep reading for your summer reading prize book. Bye-bye. Right, so I'm gonna